Yes, we
Hello,
can.
madam.
Okay. We'll just meet for a short while. Yeah, I just have just a little bit of input on the chapter 10 in your textbook. Yeah, refer to chapter 10. Now we are still talking about your presentation next week, and please continue to refer to your guidelines, your progress report guidelines and your presentation guidelines. Any questions you want to ask and to be clear, you better ask now. Yeah. Okay, we'll wait for the others. Any questions so far about regarding next week or regarding your progress report? How's your progress report coming along? Have you collected, you managed to do your survey and interviews?
Yes.
Okay, completed already? Hopefully, yeah. Anybody has any problem collecting your responses? Like I said, you can make use of your course mates in this course to answer your survey or even to do your interview questions. Provided you don't make use of your own group members, right? As long as they are not in your same group, you can still refer to your, or you can still ask your course mates to participate in your interview and survey. Okay, most of you are on board already. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to touch a little bit on the making successful presentations, and it's found in chapter 10 in your textbook. It was also referred to in your guidelines, progress report and presentation guidelines. So we'll take a quick look at that first. Yeah, let me share screen now. Right. Okay. Yeah, you can see my screen, yeah? Okay. Right. So we're going to talk about very briefly, very quickly on how to touch on some of the tips and some of the points given in chapter 10 in your textbook. First, we're going to talk about group presentation. How do you organize a group presentation, which is what you will be doing now. So, okay, let me go to the first point. The first thing you need to do is you divide up your topic. Yeah, this handout refers to your guidelines, the presentation guidelines, right? So you refer to that because in your guidelines, you are told to present, if I'm not mistaken, I think there are 7 sections you have to present, isn't it? From introduction right up to early results. So there are altogether 7 sections you need to divide up among your 4 or 5 members in your group who present what sections, which sections, okay? So if you haven't done that yet, so you remember to do that, and you decide who present which part and so on. And if you remember in the handout that was given to you, right, in your presentation guideline, each person is given 5 minutes, 5 minutes to present. I noticed that most of your groups have 4 members. So actually the most you will take is about, once your group starts presenting, it's about 20 minutes, right? 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes, plus or minus, right, for each group. So the time slot that I gave you was half an hour time slot. So I'm pretty sure you'll finish way before 7 p.m. right? All of you. So, but it's just a guideline, right? But just to, at least you're quite aware, which time frame you should all be ready, your group should be ready. Okay, so divide up your topic. That is what it means is decide who is responsible for presenting which section, yeah. Next, of course, setting time limits. This one is, of course, is already decided for you. So in your guidelines, say each member speak for 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. Okay, transitioning between speakers. Now for group presentation, it is good that there's smooth transition between from one speaker to the next. What I mean is, after the first speaker has spoken, you just don't, end with your last sentence, and then the next person pop up and begin your presentation. It will be good to, before you end your section, of course, when you start, you introduce yourself, who you are, and then you start presenting. After you're finished, just give a quick summary of your points, and then you briefly introduce the next speaker, who comes after you. Yeah, and just briefly mention what the next speaker will be talking about. For example, if you have done, for example, let's say you do the introduction part, a statement of the problem and background to the problem, let's say. So the next speaker is so and so, and she will be talking about causes and consequences. I mean, just one sentence will do, right? So that there is a smooth flow, transition between one speaker to the next. Remember, you're presenting together as a group, but it's only one presentation. Yeah. So you're clear on that, huh? It's a good practice. That's the correct way actually to do it as a group, when you present as a group. Of course, if you are an individual, a lone presenter, then you then you don't need to introduce the next speaker, right? But we are talking about group presentation here. Yeah. So later on, afterwards, I will share with you how are the marks allocated for your group presentation, so that you have an idea, yeah, how we will be marked, evaluated, yeah. Okay, transitioning between speakers. Yeah, the next point is providing graphic aids and handouts. No need, handouts is not necessary in your case for next week. Just your graphic aids. I'm sure all of you will be using PowerPoint slides. Yeah, that's about the only thing you can use here. Use PowerPoint slides. And please remember, when do you need to send in your PowerPoint slides to me? When? When do you need to send in your PowerPoint slides? Not on that day, yeah? Sorry, Monday, yeah. On the day before your presentation. So your presentation is next Tuesday. So the latest that you can send in or post to me, email to me your slides by Monday, next Monday. Okay, how many slides per group? As mentioned in the guidelines, how many slides maximum?
15.
No more than?
15.
Yeah, 15 slides. No more than 15 slides, huh? Any problem with that? No more, that means no more, you can have less than 15. It's no problem, right? But not more than 15 slides. Okay? Some were saying that, 15 slides is too few. Is it enough for you, 15 slides? I don't think it's too few, although there are 7 sections, but as we say, that please only key points in your slide, not full sentences. Afterwards, we'll go through some PowerPoint slide presentation tips, rules that I'm sure you would know, right? By now, what do you need to put on your PowerPoint slides? Just the sections and key points, not the whole text. Don't copy and paste the entire one paragraph from your progress report and put it on your PowerPoint slide. And it's just key points. And as you present, you elaborate on those points, not read from the slide. Yeah, remember, this is not reading, this is presenting. And remember, when you present, look into the camera. Right now, I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking directly at you. Yeah, and of course, you can refer to your notes or your slides by your side when you present, but don't literally read from them. Yeah, because this is presentation. So you practice, rehearse together with the group and by yourself, right? So PowerPoint slides. And make sure that your slides, they are all coordinated within your group. Now, the 15 slides is for one group, not per person. 15 slides for your entire group presentation. So since it's only, the presentation is for one project, for one group project, so make sure all your slides have coordinated, means they all have the same, using the same template, the same background, the same font type. I mean, not, of course, you can change your font here and there, maybe to emphasize highlight points and all that. But not every slide, not different template, different layout, a different background, right? It must be some kind of coordination, standard, through all the 15 slides that you use. Yeah. Even though I believe you all may be preparing your slides, maybe I don't know, one person do a few slides depending on which section you are doing lah. If you can divide up your work like that, but finally somebody you all need to coordinate all the 15 slides, make sure it's properly what do you call it, the appearance, like it says here, coordinating the appearance, so that they all appear the same. I mean, in sense of background template and so on that you use. Okay, not all 15 slides are all, every 15 slide, every slide is different from the previous slide. Okay, and answering questions is when this is actually referred to a general presentation, not just for next week. Like any kind of presentation, normally it ends with a Q&A session, about 5 minutes or so for the audience to interact with you and ask questions regarding what you have presented. So normally in a group presentation, you have to in any presentation, anticipate questions and plan how to answer them. But in the case of a group, you can, for example, decide on maybe each speaker take question at the end of her section. Or you can wait till all the 5 or 4 speakers have finished speaking, and then only you all take questions. This is what it means, anticipate and plan how to answer them. Okay, but in your case, okay, I give you a choice, right? You're listening, right? You can present either in your channel within your group, or you can present in the class as a whole. Which would you prefer?
Present in channel, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So in that case, it's if you just present in your own channel. Do all of you agree? The rest of you? We will settle on that?
Yes. Okay. Yes, we agree.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's also less stressful for you all, which means that, and also we also understand that even if we make you attend online, half the time you're not even listening. Anyway, so what we do is we have decided you just present in your own channel, right? Then that means among your group members only, and of course I'll be there, right? So the rest of you only come on board when you're on. So what I do is I can inform you. I'll keep you notified as to when to get ready, okay, through your WhatsApp. Yeah. So, but you know more or less that if you're in slot 3, you know by about what time you should all be ready to get on board. Okay. All right. Any other questions? When you present for presentation next week, let me talk about, look at the evaluation marks, just to let you know how you will be evaluated. Right. You will be, there will be 2 sections, 2 main sections. Total marks is 60 marks, 60. 40 marks will be given for the content. That means make sure all your 7 sections are covered, right? And are presented. This is for presentation alone. 40 marks are for content and overall delivery. That means show that I can see that there's a fair division of work, and of course marks for your PowerPoint slides. Now these 40 marks will be shared, right, among your, all the members in the group will share that same mark over 40. 20 marks will be individual. Individual will be based on each individual delivery, right? So for this 20, 10 marks for clarity. Make sure, like I said, speak clearly, speak into the mic, into the camera, and don't read excessively. Of course, you can refer, right, but don't read. And effective use of language, right? Make sure, we're talking about English course, right? So make sure it's clear what you're saying, and you practice, rehearse, right? The use of your language is correctly used, okay? And I also give you a choice. Like I said, you can, if you want to, show your PowerPoint slide, share screen with the rest of your group, but you must be on camera, the one who is presenting, so that I can see you. there's the rest of your group members. So you must be on camera, but if you want to, you do know how to share screen and at the same time put yourself on camera, you can do that? If
Yes.
not, you don't need to share screen. That's up to you, your group, you decide. You don't need to share screen. It's okay because I will have your PowerPoint slide. I can refer to your PowerPoint slide as you present, right? So I leave that up to you whether you want to share screen and present at the same time, or you don't need to share the screen. Which would you prefer? You know what I'm talking about? Anybody?
I think we share screen and show camera will be better.
Sorry?
I think we share screen and at the same time we show our face. We
Okay, can. Yeah, you can share screen so that the rest of your members can follow up to where you have presented. You can share screen at the same time, show yourself on camera. Yeah, and right. So make sure that on camera, make sure your top half of your body is seen, right? And not just your chin upwards only, your top half of your body is seen. And what else? Yeah, of course, attire. Some of you are asking how do I need to dress and so on. Dress, dress appropriately lah, right? For a presentation, how a presentation would require to do. But of course, no need too formally, no need coat and tie and all that, no need lah. But at least not in your pajamas lah, or singlet or tank top or and look presentable lah, right? Not just jump out of bed and then present. So appropriately for a formal presentation, a shirt, put on a shirt or at least the top half of your body. Okay. I mean, you have seen, I think you will have people in your house, maybe your parents or your older siblings who are working and they're working from home. They also need to make presentation, and maybe some of you would have seen them how to make presentation to their clients, customers, and so on. So the same thing you're doing here, right? And make sure you look presentable, right? Okay? Right. Whether you want to sit or stand during your presentation, I leave that up to you. But it's fine whether if you want to sit and present, it's fine. But if you prefer to stand and present, it's also okay. But just make sure the top half of your body is seen. And points are also given for part of your body language. When you deliver points and so on, body language is also important. Eye contact is important. Okay, we look at some of the tips for presentation. Okay, some of these points are taken from, they are taken from your textbook, textbook page 399, around that, chapter 10, how to rehearse your presentation. You can rehearse on your own, you can rehearse together with your group, and you can use the channel to rehearse and so on, right? So you can just read through some of the tips. When you deliver your presentation, settling your nerves before you speak and so on, right? As long as you are prepared, you will not need to be nervous or jittery. Avoid caffeine. All right, right. But these are just tips for normal presentation, right? So it's good to pick it up, learn it up, right? And practice it, right? Because they are very likely you will need to make presentations. I mean, we're talking of later on in your workplace and so on. So this is a good time to practice, making a presentation, so like making eye contact and so on, right? So you can read up on all this. Okay. Dress professionally, use appropriate body language. Okay, right? So these are all, you can read it up further like in your textbook, chapter 10, in presentation. Okay, for formal presentations, this is also in your textbook. Normally, what you need to cover is in any kind of formal presentation, right? So make sure that your content is properly organized. There's a head, body, and a tail, right? So that when your audience listen to you, they can follow your flow of thoughts, right? Start with an introduction, and then the main content will be in the body, and then you conclude by giving restate your points and so on. I think I've covered this in the guidelines early on, but let's take a quick look. Normally for introduction, when you stand up to speak, of course, you introduce yourself and then give a quick outline. Roadmap means an outline of what you want to cover and what are the points you're covering in your presentation. So that it's like an overview first. Give the audience an overview of what you're going to say, right? For example, this is just an example. This is for any kind of general, normal, formal presentation. First, you give the title and then you tell them what you're going to talk about, right? And then use transition words like first, second, third, next, and so on, right? To show the flow of your content, flow smoothly, your points flow smoothly from one point to the next, is connected, because you need your audience to be able to follow what you say. Okay, and that's the introduction. And then, of course, the body is where your main content is, right? And then, of course, in this case, in your case, your group presentation, your conclusion will be just restate briefly what you have just said, and then you introduce the next speaker. Unless you're the last speaker, then you don't introduce, okay? You just restate very quickly what is summarize the content. That's it, yeah. So this is the general outline of a formal presentation, yeah. Make sure that your points are properly organized, not jump from here to there, and confused trying to follow you. Okay, so now before that's about all, except that a quick run through on your PowerPoint slides, because 10 marks are located for your PowerPoint slides. So make sure that it's properly, we go through some general rules, which I'm sure you're already aware of. Like, for example, in your first slide, it is good to, of course, in your case, in your first slide, you must have at least a title. You must have the title of your project and your group members' names, right? You can have an outline, you can include an outline that is of the sections that that the group is covering, right, for your project. But you don't need, in your case, you just can put a project, metric, your group members' names, and the outline can be put in the first slide. Yeah, if you don't want to put an outline in your case, it's okay because it's just. But it'd be better but I suppose everyone will have the same outline because you're covering the 7 sections. Okay. So, but make sure you have your project title and your group members' names in your first slide. And then some examples of good slides, the structure, and write in point form, not complete sentences. Yeah, include 4 or 5 points per slide. Avoid wordiness. Use keywords only, keywords and phrases. Do not do this. Do not do this. Don't write full sentences in your slide. Yeah, and then you read from it. No. Yeah. Like taking one whole paragraph and then putting it on the slide. No, just all in key points and key phrases. And then you elaborate in the presentation. Okay. Font size, these are just suggestions, right? 18 point, main point 28. And so these are just a standard format. Title font 36. Use standard font like New Times, New Roman, and Arial. Clear font size, font type. Yeah. Do not do this, right? This is bad, too small. Yeah, and don't capitalize everything, your entire slide, unless only when it is necessary, because everything in capital is difficult to read. Yeah. And don't use complicated font like this, right? Use clear, readable font, and especially now you're presenting online, it's okay, but if you're presenting in a physical room, you must make sure that people at the back of the room is able to read the slide. Yeah, so keep that in mind, right? Color. Use a color of font. Color, of course, the font color must contrast with the background. Yeah, and so on. Right? Do not do this, right? Don't use a different color for different sentences, and especially this. Trying to be creative can also be bad. Don't try to use too many colors. So just stick to one color, unless you want to, here and there, you want to highlight, and you can change your color and so on. But not too many colors. Sound also is better to have a light background. Now use background which are lighter. And of course, use the same background consistently. That's what I mean. Coordinate the appearance of the slide so that the background is consistent throughout the whole slide, entire slides that you're using for your presentation in your group. Okay. Please don't do this, right? Some of you may like psychedelic colors, but no, not on slides, yeah. As you can see why, giving you a headache, isn't it? You get migraine just looking at this. All right, so choose your simple, be plain, right? And make sure that don't let your audience get distracted by too many things, and no need animation flying here, things flying here and there, no need all that. Okay, right, for graphs, right, make sure that, okay, for example, graphs, you must have a title, yeah. This graph is, sometimes it's, you can present your things on graphs, sometimes it's on charts or tables. It depends which one is more useful for different use, some different, what do you call it, methods are used for different contexts. Now, for example, this is showing items sold in the first quarter. And the items are blue balls and red balls. So it just shows, this graph shows very clearly, isn't it? The number of red balls sold in January and number of blue balls sold in January, February, March, and April. And very quickly, you can see the contrast. You can compare between the two, how well the sales are doing for the different kinds of balls. So this kind of bar graph is very clear. But if you use this information, instead of using a graph, you put it in the form of a chart like this, then see blue ball, red ball. It's not very clear, isn't it? Right? So it depends on the context. So of course, in this case, to show how many balls are sold in January, February, March, April, don't put it in the form of a table. It's much clearer if it's in the form of a graph. But of course, in your case, let's say if you're talking about the section on work allocation, then of course a chart or table will be much clearer, better, okay? And remember to give your graphs a title, and this is not good. All these minor grid lines are not necessary. Font is too small. No need all this shading and shadow. No title, right? Shading and all this all very distracting. So this is not a good graph. It's compact, clear and neat, right? And not distracting. Okay, and of course, finally, your spelling, grammar, and all that. Proof your slides. Please proofread your slides. Proof here means proofread. Please, no glaring spelling mistakes. Call someone to check through your so have 4 or 5 members in the group. Check through spelling mistake, grammar mistakes. No, yeah. Okay. Conclusion, in your case, just summarize your main points, yeah, and conclude. Here, of course, you have your questions. In a normal presentation, like I say, you have a Q&A session. But in your case, you don't need Q&A session, you're presenting to your group. But of course, I will give my feedback and comments at the end. Yeah. So that's it. I wanted to show you a video, but I think it's okay. So, all right. So that's it. That's what we covered today on presentations. Yeah. And there's a handout under week 8, writing a PowerPoint presentation. So what more or less covered that, you can have a look at the handout. All right, so that's it. Right. All right, so there's okay. Any questions, Doctor? Any questions regarding the presentation?
Madam.
Yep.
For the work completed and work scheduled part, do we have to just paste the Gantt chart, or we do a flow chart or timeline?
No, you just yeah, for work completed and work schedule, isn't it? From the 2 parts, part 4 and part 5. Just paste your Gantt chart. You use Gantt chart, isn't it? Right? In your progress report. That one you can just paste it on the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Thank you. But the rest of it, you all elaborate, explain step by step what is completed in week what the graph shows. Yeah. Just right. Straight direct from your what do you call it, from your progress report. Next week, you don't have to submit the progress report yet. You just present, right? So possibly you may need to add here and there or whatever. So based on your presentation, I may give some feedback or something so you can work further on it before you submit. Your submission of your progress report is the following week, week 11. Yeah. Next week is week 10. So week 10, you just do your presentation. Yeah. Any part regarding the progress report that you want to ask about? You're not clear? Any other questions? You all started working on it already, right? I think there was one I think was asking about challenges and projections. Do you know what is, are you clear what you mean by challenges and projections? Section on challenges. Challenges means basically what difficulties that you have encountered while carrying out this project so far. What difficulties, what problems. That's what I mean by challenges. For example, you have like, okay, you tell me what difficulties have you encountered while carrying out this project? Anyone? No problem smooth sailing
Couldn't meet up face to face. Couldn't have a face to face discussion.
Yeah, exactly. So this will be maybe one of the you can state it in your under challenges difficulty in meeting up. Yeah, because you couldn't meet face to face, you have to just meet either through text by texting, right? As compared to a physical meeting. So there are challenges there. So you mentioned it the difficulty in having to discuss on a project by just texting, WhatsApp messages, or just meeting online or virtual meetings, which is more difficult to convey your ideas clearly and so on, right? But you don't just state what problem you have facing. You must also, after mentioning your difficulty, you also mention how did you overcome it, or how did at least you try to overcome it. Yeah. So all of you have problem all of you will face that one problem, inability to meet face to face. So how did you overcome through virtual conversation, through your virtual interactions? How did you overcome it? Maybe meet more often, right? Even though not face to face physically, but at least you get to meet on camera, right? Either through WhatsApp video or the video that you use here in your channel team. You can come on board and meet in your team's channels any time of the week, any time, not necessarily just during class. Or if you prefer to use WhatsApp video, you can use your WhatsApp video if you meet each other face to face, and rather than most of the time it's just texting. It's very cumbersome right? You can't say much through text, isn't it, right? Rather than if you can just talk physically with each other, even though not in physical meetings, but at least you can see each other and speak to each other. Or even audio, you can use Microsoft Teams and just talk audio, using audio. There's an audio icon there. Just like talking on the phone like that. At least all through the internet. So you can just by talking, right? By texting, through video. Okay. So there's one. What else? Inability to meet face to face. What other challenges so far you have encountered? What else? No other problem. Somebody write something, is it? Wait, let me refer. Somebody mentioned something. Do we need to write description like the pie chart for the graphic presentation? Okay. Lam Zasin. Right. There's a question posted. Do we need to, in your graphic presentation, that means your early results, when you're presenting your early results, in your progress report, of course, for each graph that you show, you have to come up with a description. But in the PowerPoint slide, you don't need to come up with a description. You explain the graph. That means you tell it. You present it verbally. show on the, what do you call it? PowerPoint slide lah, right? The description of your graph or what your graph shows. For example, you're showing a pie chart, then you just explain verbally lah, what does this section show, how many percentage is the highest, and so on lah, right? Explain verbally, so you don't have to type it out, write it out in the PowerPoint slide. But in your progress report, you have to lah, right? For every graph, every chart that you show, right? Table or graph or what, you must come up with a short paragraph to describe what does the graph say. Yeah, and don't expect the reader to read and try to understand what your graph is saying. Okay, just very simple, direct. Like for example, and please label them. Your charts and all that. You must figure 1 or table 1, so on. So at least when the reader reads, know which table you're referring. Figure 1 shows the, what do you call it? What are you doing? Drug addiction. Anybody doing drug addiction? That's how many people have, for example, 50%, or not drug addiction, what do you call it? Social media addiction. The 50% of the respondents, or the highest percentage as 50%, said that they spend more than 5 hours a day on social media, and then go on, and 20% less than 5 hours, and so on, right? So you just describe what is shown on your graph or on your pie chart. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Somebody said some. Can't see that. Oh, okay. Jing Jia says that 15 slides, does it include the main slide? Yeah, 15 means 15 ma. Okay, so including the first slide also, all in maximum 15. Okay. Aina, why don't you speak into your mic? You prefer to type. For the conclusion, do we need to restate all 7 parts? Oh, Aina asked, for the conclusion, do we need to restate all 7 parts? Just very briefly lah, don't have to, so if you are the final speaker, you can just say very briefly that, yeah, we have in our presentation, we have covered the or we have described what we have carried out in our project, and don't have to really mention every one of you mention all the 7 sections lah, just very one sentence, right? Or maybe just highlight one main point or one finding, right? One very important finding which you feel important that you have discovered so far. Remember, this is a progress report, so it's just reporting so far what you have done. Yeah. So no need to everyone have to mention all the 7 sections. Maybe you can just highlight highlighting one important finding that you have found from your survey or from your interview. Yeah. And oh yeah, before I forget, just now we mentioned about challenges, right? So we talked about like having time to meet up, and also like, for example, another challenge could be time management, right? Couldn't find the time to manage it, to work together and so on. So time management can be another problem. And also the other one, for example, you may have challenge. Projections is another project. Under challenges is all the problems you've encountered so far. For example, you have already conducted your survey, so maybe you did not get enough responses, or maybe interviews. Maybe you have already conducted an interview, and you were only able to conduct only a few, and so it may not represent the whole. If you're working with UM, if your target audience is UM students, so it may not be a good representative. So these are some of the issues that you may encounter. Projections is what problems you think, you anticipate that you will face in the coming weeks. Now, progress report is just progress report. After a progress report, you have to work on your proposal. Okay, so what? And finally, to hand in your proposal report at the end, 14 weeks, based on what you have found so far, based on what you have researched on and discovered, and based on the findings that you receive. What proposal? Proposal means you have to propose a solution, an activity, right, and so on, to solve this problem. Let's say your problem is what? Stress among students. Okay, so you come up with a proposal, an activity, or a program, right, to solve this problem. So that is a proposal report that you come up with. So what kind of your projection be? What kind of problem or issues or difficulties which you anticipate facing, right, in the coming few weeks after this? One example could be maybe you may have problem, you may anticipate problem interpreting your data or analyzing your data, or you may have problem in your writing of your proposal. Maybe the writing style may not be consistent, right? Because I presume everyone will be writing different sections, right, of the proposal. So you must get a problem you may have encountered. You may be, we may come up with a report that is, the writing style may not be consistent throughout. So how would you plan to overcome this problem? When you mention the projection, the problems you think you may anticipate may happen, but you must also come up with a suggestion on how will your group be able to overcome the problem. Of course, the problem may not be overcome, but at least you have discussed on planning on how to overcome it as far as you can, or reduce it or minimize it. Okay. So both projections and challenges is about problems that you will encounter in carrying out this project. About just two or three, like we can have 3 problems, 3 challenges and 3 projections, or 2 challenges, projections is enough already, right? But make sure don't just mention the problem, but come up with suggestion on how do you plan to solve it. Yeah. Any other questions? Are you clear so far? There's another question. Should we list the survey question in the slide, or we just have to present verbally? Okay, somebody asked whether you need to list the survey question in the slides. Right, your survey questions, there is no need to list it in your slide, because your survey questions, you are referring to it in your early results. That means from the, let's say, early result, maybe you present 2 to 3 early results. That means 2 to 3, the results will come, the findings come from your survey question. So based on which survey question you want to present, you want to mention in your presentation, you just mention that survey question only, right? For example, if you want to mention from our survey question, number 5, we asked we asked on the respondents' opinion on what are the causes of stress among students. So your survey question is mentioned there. Of course, you need to write it up in the slide so people can also read easily. In your opinion, what are the causes? What are the reasons, or what are the causes of stress among students? So that is one survey question, and then you show your graph, and these are the findings we got. These are the answers that we got from the respondents. Maybe you have listed some of the causes, and how many people have agreed to it. 50% say it's caused by too much coursework, something like that, or 70% is caused by the stress is because of online learning or things like this. So there's no, I think what you mean by listing out survey questions, let's say you have 10 survey questions, you don't have to list it all out in your presentation, no need, right? In your presentation, just pick 2 or 3 and then present the findings. That's all. Okay. You can present your survey question, or you can present your interview questions. Either or, no need to present both. But if you want to present both, also can. Yeah, just one or two or 3 enough already. It's early results. It's just that so far, what have you found so far? What have you discovered so far in your project? in your survey or in your interview. Okay. All right. Does that answer your question? Are you clear on what to do? But in your what do you call it, in your progress report under appendix, remember there's a final section after reference, then there's appendix. Reference, appendix, no need to present, but in your progress report you need to have that lah. Reference and appendix. In appendix is where you list, where you put in your all the 10 survey questions that you have asked, or you can just upload your survey form. Yeah, I don't upload, or you just print screen it and attach it to your report lah, and only in appendix lah, but not on your slide. Yeah, are you clear? Any other questions? Okay. So you're ready for next week? All right. So today actually I have not much, but I can't let you off yet. What you need to do is, I think you can, since you always say difficult to meet lah, no time to meet, now is the time to meet your group lah. You can go back to your channels, right, respective channels, and continue with your planning, right, on your progress report. Continue with the planning, and you know how to, you can upload your, even your written file, like your Word document or your PowerPoint slide, you can upload it in your channel and share it among your members. You know how to do that, right? Yeah, as you discuss your stuff. Yeah. So remember to send me your PowerPoint slides latest by Monday. Not on Tuesday itself, by Monday, must be the day before. Even though your class is in the afternoon. Yeah, send me, make sure you send it to my email by Monday latest. Okay? No questions? Any other questions? No questions there. Can you please go back to your, you can take a short break, go back to your channel, and you continue with your group, your plan, your group discussion, your plan on your report and your presentation. All right? Okay. So with this, we can we can leave this room now, right? And if you still have any question, you can post it in the channel or in the platform, like the general platform afterwards. Okay. All right. See you there. Don't go off, Go to your channels.